look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life, 24 and there's so much more. Live alone in a paradise that makes me think of two. Love lost such a cost. Give me things that won't get lost, like a coin that won't get lost, rolling home to you.
Presented by Scott Credit Union. Yours, St. Louis.
Oh man, am I all messed up? It is the Blue Note Fan Report, and I am Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan. I am your host on the show that is by a fan, for a fan, and about you, the fan, and it is game day. Yes, it is game day. Ashley was supposed to be here. However, our buddy, our friend, our pal, Drew Lott, hooked her up with some tickets. That means that's right. She's at the game today. Just sent Lance a link. Hopefully he'll be able to pop in, pop out, and say hi to us. I know he's been wanting to be on a show. I know he hasn't been doing well. Wendy's telling me I need to check my DMs. Where are we at, Wendy? Well, you know, Wendy, we love you, and you can come on anytime you want to. I guess I need to do this real quick. Here we go. There we go. So, what are we going to talk about today is the Blues get ready to take on the Coyotes. That's right. And our Phoenix, our Arizona, or whatever you want to call them, Coyotes are a reeling team at the moment. They are at the bottom of the Central Division. Yes, they are. And they are right there with the worst of the worst. They're there with the you could eat, they're out blah 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 blah. Man, I'm struggling. Okay, here we go. Windy. How you doing, buddy?
I got back from Chicago around like 1 a.m. after last night's game.
Yeah. How was that, man? How was that? Because I've never been to like a ceremony like that. I've been to one ceremony. I forget what it was. I mean, it was a long, long time ago, but I've never been to like a ceremony like that. So what was that like, man?
The Hawks did it right. They managed bringing and former teammates of Jonathan Toews, of Marian Hossa, Brent Seabrook, Andrew Shaw, Patrick Sharp. They all came out to present the silver stick to Jonathan Toews. The Hawks put on a good tribute video for him, and his family came out onto the ice. It was a lot of fun, and you could tell Hawk fans were happy because how many Jonathan Toews jerseys were out in this UC, and it being a sellout last night was something special.
Yeah, I mean, 1,000. Look, I'm not a Blackhawks fan. I you know, when guys play for the Blackhawks, they go to the bottom of my trash barrel, and rooting. And I'm sure the same thing for you when guys like Sod, you can't stand Sod now, and you used to cheer like a mother for him. So I get it.
By the way, Pronger got booed last night at the United Center.
Pronger got booed at the United Center. Why was Pronger there?
He wasn't at the United Center. Yeah. Well, his tribute that he basically did a congratulations to Jonathan Toews. The former rivals of the Hawks kind of got booed when their videos went up, like the Sedin twins.
Yeah, okay.
And Pronger, Corey Perry. They got booed, and then it was just something just out of classic Chicago rivalry between old players that we tend to hate.
No, I get it, and see, that's what makes it fun, right?
Yeah.
I always talk about the rivalry and how the and I'm sorry, I'm kind of trying to do different things here without having Ashley here tonight. How the rivalry and all that connects, and how it's better when it's better when both teams are good, both teams are playoff teams. It increases that. When you play each other together. The old Norris time when you were playing the Blackhawks almost every playoff season.
Yeah.
Right. So that was one of those things there that just raises it. So that level of booing Chris Pronger, I think that's cool.
It was the classic Chicago way of welcoming an old rival.
Yeah.
They did not boo Brandon Saad, which I understand because Sauter meant so much to Jonathan Toews being a line mate through the Stanley Cup years. And I understand it. I didn't boo Sauter either. I just said, okay, I understand Sauter. I chanted Sauter when he came up. But when Shazi, Hossa, Sharpie, and Seabrook came out, that was honestly a big surprise to Blackhawk fans because we all thought Hossa was still back in Slovakia. Seabrook was up in Canada. Same with Sharp and Shaw. We didn't expect them to come, but apparently Shaw kind of leaked the secret to Toews the night before that he was going to be there, and Toews had no clue any of them were going to be there. So it was kind of a big deal for Hawks fans to actually get to see players like that back in the United Center.
And that's cool. That really is cool. It's it kind of reminds me of when they a few years ago when the Blues retired Bobby Plager's number.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that building was, the guys that came in for that, and that's the same thing. And it's going to be like that when they do retire Toews or Kane's number or the likelihood of that. So I get that. Tonight, the Blues are taking on the bottom of the Central Division, the Arizona Coyotes. I still call them the Phoenix Coyotes for some reason. That's kind of like sitting there
a lot too on my end, so I understand it.
There's this narrative. First of all, the Coyotes are reeling. I think they've won one of their last 5 games, something like that.
One in the last 5 games. That means their only win is last night.
Yeah, that was their first win in 5 games. Jesus. Right? That was their first
win. It came off a fluke, by the way. That goal should not been a thing because the refs blew it in overtime.
All right. Let's see. I'm wrong. So in their last 5, they're 2-2-1. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10. Blues are 3-1-1 in their last 5, 4-3-3 in their last 10. However, they're coming off a very successful 4 games against the Pacific. They took 7 of 8 points. They have 2 more games against the Pacific, the bottom of the Pacific. Arizona's not the Pacific. I still think of them being in the Pacific. Right? Well, they can't be because of Seattle.
But in my opinion, they should not have come to the Central.
They had to. The Central was the division that was short a team.
Right? Brought back Detroit.
Well, Detroit wouldn't come. Right? I get what you're saying. Detroit's not coming though. And then you still would have had you still end up having 9 teams in the Pacific. And that's the issue. You want to balance it out.
Arizona is not a Central-based team, in my opinion. They're closer to LA and Anaheim than they are anyone in our own in the Central Division.
Not true. Colorado.
They're so closer to LA. Mileage, they're closer.
Okay, maybe I'd have to check that, but I know that
Colorado, I did the mileage check right before the season started, and they're so closer to LA and Anaheim than they are Colorado.
Okay, well, I'll have to look at that. I'll take your word for it. I trust you, Wendy. Tonight for me, this is a game. It's a 4-game homestand. You're playing tonight. You're playing Seattle tomorrow, and then you have the game that everybody, or Seattle on Thursday, or on Wednesday. Let me get my things right. Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's right. So you have tonight, you have Phoenix, Arizona. Wednesday, you have Seattle. And then on Friday, you have the game that everybody will be watching, especially if you're a fan of the Western Division, and that will be Minnesota coming into town.
Mhm.
That's not just, they talk about 4 points game. That's more than a 4-point game. That's a home ice shift, right? That's a
Yeah.
home ice shift because right now, evened up in games. Oh, they're showing Shin beating up on a Blackhawks person. I didn't get to see all of it. Isn't Edmonton closer to Arizona? No, not really. Edmonton's further up.
Edmonton
Right.
is actually in mileage or closer to teams in the Central.
Yeah, that is. But see, the thing is, you don't want to split up. That's one rivalry you're not going to split up,
Yeah, I know.
right?
But
You're
yet
not
they
going to split
split
up.
up the Chicago-Detroit rivalry, which
Yeah,
was
that was now you got to understand Detroit there. Detroit played more games out of their time zone than anybody else,
Mhm.
right? They played so many games outside of their time zone that it didn't make sense for them, right?
Yeah.
Everybody in the Central was an hour behind them. You had everybody in the West being 2 to 3 hours behind them, and then they only played the teams in the East 2 times.
Mhm.
So the majority of their games were outside of their time zone, and their away games were outside of their time zone, and it just was, and the travel for them was humongous, right?
You can see where I'm coming from, though.
Oh no, I
The
see
fact
it.
that Chicago is closer to Detroit than anyone else in the division.
Aren't we? How close are you to Detroit? I thought it was about the same as St. Louis. I think you're both
It's a
within 300
30-minute
miles.
flight.
30 minute. Well, it's a 30-minute flight from St. Louis. It's 300 miles. I know it. I've driven it numerous times.
Mhm.
I used to be stationed in Chicago, so I know that drive. It's a 6-hour drive, right? 300 miles, a little less than 300
4
miles.
hours.
4 hours if you, in today's speed, yeah. Let's see where we at in here. Chris Lambert saying us versus the Wild at this time isn't going to be a huge key game. Oh, you are so wrong, my friend. Oh, no. I disagree with that. I'll tell you what, right now, Wild fans, they are A, scared of facing St. Louis, and B, want home ice against St. Louis. Even with Fleury and net, St. Louis is 10-1-1 against them in the last 12 games. That's 2 seasons worth. 10-1-1. That's huge. Last season, the only team that they couldn't beat was us. And they were, they got into that third spot. They were worried that the Blues might they might have to face the Blues in that first round. They were absolutely terrified of facing the Blues in that first round. And I wish Josh Ian, or my buddy Ian was here, the Wild fan, but no, they will tell you they are not excited about the possibility of playing the Blues in that first round.
Mhm.
Right. And I think Wendy might even agree with me on this one. So, Chris, I have to disagree with you.
The thing with playoff, though, it doesn't always mean anything when you get to the playoffs when it comes to history playing each other. You can go into the playoffs playing each other, and you could have a terrible record versus them. And you can come into the playoffs knowing you have been bad against your opponent and then somehow come out steaming, because usually when the Hawks played the Wild in the playoffs, the Wild actually won the season series each year, except for 2013, because the 2013 Hawks were just an all-star roster.
Yeah.
But the Wild were a team that wanted to, whenever they played the Hawks, they would beat up on the Hawks in regular season play, but when it came to playoff time, Hawks came to show that they could not play.
Yeah. Oh, they're showing something here on with Arizona, and I guess it's Zegras. Oh, Zegras got punched pretty hard in the face. He was down on the ice. I guess that was Friday. What do you think of the Zegras goals?
Oh, I love Zegras.
Right? You know what? To me, it's your job to stop him. Mm-hmm. Right? It is. It's your job to stop him. And what he's doing, that's skill, and I love it.
I love it.
And the last one he did, so he didn't like bend down and pick that puck up, like they normally do it, right?
Yeah.
He slipped his stick under that puck against the net to get it and go around and throw it into the net. To me, that was a legitimate shot. Mm-hmm. That was almost like getting your stick in there for a deflection in my eyes.
Zegras is a lot of fun to watch. I love his play.
Right. I just love, for me, Zegras is always going to be that guy for me. And it was the juniors, right? At the juniors, he goes in the day of the gold medal game. Oh, the Canadians haven't been
went
challenged.
In cocky and was ready to go.
But not only that, he backed it up, and he had something to do with every point.
And basically,
I think he scored the game-winning goal too, right?
Game, though.
Say again.
They basically called Canada trash after the game by bringing out the trash can with the Team Canada logo, but that was in its own self, which was
but I like that. He backed it up. Mm-hmm. He backed it up. He went out there. He said they hadn't been challenged yet, and we're going to challenge them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He didn't say maybe. He said, no, we're out here to challenge them. Yeah. Then he's I think, what was it? It was a 3-2 win, right?
If I remember correctly.
Yeah. It was either a 3-2. It was a short game, a low scoring game, but he factored in all three goals.
Yeah.
Either scored or had an assist in all three goals. He went out there and did exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
Last season, Anaheim was absolutely dumb for not bringing him up earlier. They should have. I mean, that kid was NHL ready at the
Wasn't
drop of the
he
puck.
playing college though?
I don't know if he was still in college or not.
I thought he was playing college for the first part of the season, and after the season was over, he signed his entry-level deal.
I thought he was playing for a junior team.
I can't remember now.
I thought he was playing. I'm pretty sure he was playing for a junior team. Nitro, yes and no. He's been our most active player. Hard to say he's been our best player. Oh my goodness. We've got a sighting. Are you ready for this, Wendy? We have a Lance sighting.
Hey guys.
Hey Lance,
Wendy.
how are you doing?
Not too bad. How are you guys?
Not bad, not bad. I was kind of waiting for you to come on. Ashley's not going to be here with us today, so I'm glad you are. I have a special announcement. I've teased it to a few people. I put it out in some groups. On Thursday, I will be doing a live show at 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and my special guest will be Tony Twist. Yeah, that I talked to him today. I'm like ecstatic. We're going to try and set things up, get the technical bugs out tomorrow, but he's going to be on Thursday and he's going to talk to you guys. He's going to answer questions. He's more than happy to do that. I've met him a couple of times now. A great guy, very, very intelligent, very smart. He's one of those guys. If he doesn't have that unfortunate motorcycle accident, he's up there amongst the Bob Proberts as one of the greats. Right? Mm-hmm. I could see him being in the Hall of Fame as just his fist. Right? He would have been one of those guys in my eyes. You don't agree with me there, Wendy?
I mean, Probert's not a Hall of Famer.
But he should be. Right?
Well, here's the thing. Probert has a much better case to stand on, even if Twist would have played a couple more years in the NHL, because Probert could actually score.
Probert had a goal-scoring touch.
He was very good. He could not only fight, but, man, if you want a guy to put up 20, 30, so many goals, and that's rare. How many other guys like him are that good at fighting, but also He's got good hands and able to score, and
Yeah.
you just can't find that.
No. And Probert was one of those guys. He was just, he was everywhere. He was a character on and off the ice, and that's what made him so good. And that's what Twist was. Twist was a character on and off the ice. It's what made him so good. And to me, the Hall of Fame is to celebrate the game, and you have to celebrate every aspect of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to score 100 goals or play in 1,000. Look at, if you can play in 1,000 games and you did it with just your fist, that needs to be celebrated. And I'm not a guy. I'm not an enforcer favorite. I'm not a fan of the enforcers, of the old time enforcers. I'm really not. I understand fighting. I understand it has its place in the game. But anybody that tells me they come to watch the game for the fighting and that, I don't get it. Because there's so much more. That's just me. But I don't think I don't say that it shouldn't be celebrated. Guys like Twist, guys like Chase, guys like Probert.
Yep.
Go ahead, Tony.
Yep. I think what it comes down to is one thing only. When it comes, actually, there's a couple things, but one thing only when it comes down to whether you're a Hall of Famer. 500 goals is nice, 600 goals is nice. What impact did you have on the game while you were playing?
Yeah.
To me, that's huge up there. If a guy's got 450 goals and played in 1,200 games and got 600 assists, if he didn't have an impact, he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. We want guys in there that have impacts on the game, and I think Tony Twist had an impact just like Bob Probert. But I can understand why somebody wouldn't want to put those type of guys in the Hall of Fame, though.
Yeah.
No, I do think. So Chris Shockey is asking about Schwartz being back on Wednesday. I'm gonna look at this. I know he's been playing. I'm guessing yes, but I don't know for sure yet, Chris. I'm gonna try and check it out for you. What the hell was Bennington doing in the Oiler game? Oh, okay. Thank you, Nitro. Absolutely, thank you. Bennington did not play as bad as everybody thinks he played in that game. Right?
No, and here's the thing. If you take away Bennington's last, 7-8 games, something like that, and take those away, he's not that far off from Vilhuso's numbers. The thing about Bennington is and I hate to say this about Jake Allen because I like Jake Allen, but he's pulling a Jake Allen to where every game you can count on him to let in a soft goal or two. And that's not who he is or who he used to be. And I was listening to the radio show this afternoon, and Brad Thompson, who's a former baseball pitcher, brought up to Jamie Rivers that, somehow we need to figure out a way to say Bennington's injured and send him down to the AHL for reconditioning and bring up Charlie Sideburns, Lindgren.
Chucky Sideburns,
Lindgren has been put on waivers several times and nobody claimed him. If he was in true NHL goalie, even a backup, somebody would have picked him up. We've got to stop this enamored thing with guys that have played 4 or 5 games for the Blues and have done well. He is a good AHL goalie and a guy that you can bring up now and again to start a couple games in a year for an NHL team. When guys get to be 28, 29 years old, they're not going to make the NHL most likely. Maybe as a backup. The only guy I know that was a great starter, and he's one of the best ever, and Wendy will agree with me here, is Dominik Hasek. And the only reason that he started in the NHL around 27, 28 years old is because he was playing for the national team. He was doing very, very well, but, it's just very rare. I mean, I can think of maybe 1 or 2 guys, and I can't remember them off the top of my head, their names, that became good, not great, good, solid NHL starters after 28, 29 years old. It just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. No. So here's my thing. I don't mind Bennington having an injury and going down. I really don't. Right. However, at the same time, Sideburns isn't the answer either. Right. He played at a time. So here's something that needs to be looked at. You look at when he played. It was in December. There's a big difference between hockey in December and hockey in April. Well, which normally would be March or April, right? Because normally in a normal season, this would be the playoffs would be starting this week.
Yeah, in a couple days. Right? Yep.
Yeah. So we still got some games, but there's a big difference between playing hockey in December and playing hockey here. And there's also a big difference in the way Berube coached the team in December and the way that he's coaching the team now. And this is something that hasn't been talked about. But look at Kyrou, look at Thomas, look at Kostin, look at Mikkola, right? These young guys who in December were able to play wide open the way their talent is, and now they're being reined back in. You look at Kyrou. Kyrou is the most confused hockey player I've ever seen. He is absolutely confused on that ice. He doesn't know what to do because he goes out there, and I talked about this the other day. He goes out there, he does something, he gets yelled at for it. The very next shift, O'Reilly does the same thing, and no one says a word. Berube berates younger players, thinking it builds them up, and sometimes it absolutely confuses them. And that is something right now with Sideburns. Now I know he's 28, but I think that Berube would do the same thing with him. I think Berube would confuse him in some of the things. Well, you know what Allen's problem is?
Here's the thing. When it comes to goaltending, a lot of times coaches let the goaltending coach handle the goalie.
Yeah.
Very few times does the head coach really get into a goaltender's head. I mean, it's very, very rare. And you can, it's like I've talked to Grant Fuhr before. If you're in the NHL and you're a starting goalie or backup goalie, you're good. You've got tools. Whether you're on a bad team and you allow 3.5 goals.
64 men in the planet.
Yeah, and it's he said the difference between the great ones and the good ones is in the head. And right now, something is in Bennington's head because you can see it from time to time when he'll make that great save, and you're like, man, that was awesome. He's back. And then 3 shots later, he sticks too close to the right post, which we've seen several times this year, and he commits too far over to that right post. And they beat him on the glove side because he's opened up too much of that side of the net, and it's all in his head right now. That's it.
Yeah. No. So for me, I think it comes down to this, and I think it's actually the goalie coach that has it messed up.
Could be.
When in 19 and in 20, when Bennington was showing all of this skill and all of that, he was a impromptu goalie, right? He was what do you call it when a comedian just goes out there and off the cuff, right?
Unscripted.
Unscripted. He was an off the cuff goalie. He wasn't technically sound, but that was okay because he was so free flowing that he could make those great saves and not make them look great, make them look average, right? Now you look at him and it feels like they've worked so much on his technical side that he's lost that improvisation that a good goaltender needs. That's what Brodeur had. That's what Waugh had. That's what I'm probably forgetting. Liut was a great impromptu goalie.
That's what Hasek had. Hasek didn't care. Hasek didn't care if he had to
insane.
flop around like a fish. He didn't care. He just wanted to make the save.
Hasek was just insane.
Yeah.
He was,
in my opinion, greatest goalie of all time.
He's definitely in my top 3 or 4 there. I still say, and you never got to see him play, and I've only got to see videos of him.
Yeah.
But if you ask most goalies, especially those that played in the NHL before 2000, and you say who's the greatest goalie ever, they're going to say Terry Sawchuk. If you ask the guys today, they're going to say Brodeur or Waugh. And I'm sorry, I like Patrick Waugh, but in my mind, he's good. But if somebody said, Lance, you can have these 2 goalies, you can have Waugh or Brodeur, I'm going to take Brodeur. And if somebody asked me, you can have Waugh or Hasek, I'm sorry, I agree with Wendy. I'm going to take Hasek.
Yeah, no, I'm with you too. Waugh was a product of his environment in some cases. A little
bit.
Right. I mean, Montreal at the time had these really, really great teams around. Well, as soon as the team got junky, look at the game where they hung him out there for 6 goals, 7 goals, and he walked back and says, "I'll never play for this team again."
What were you going to say, Wendy?
I kind of think Brodeur was on the overrated side because he was behind a team that just played the trap all the time in New Jersey, and that's how he got all of his wins.
It definitely helped him.
Yeah, but wasn't his save percentage like up there in the 940s?
Well, yeah,
Right?
but Guy, when you've got a team that keeps other teams in the neutral zone,
Yeah.
and you're only allowing 18 to 21 shots a game, it's a lot easier to be a goal.
You know what? Osgood was the same way.
Osgood was a great goalie. Didn't get the credit.
Yeah, he was good.
Deserved because he was on Detroit pretty much his entire career, minus the brief stint in New York
and
I
St.
think it was
Louis.
in St. Louis for a while too.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Right. Who else was with Osgood? There was somebody else with Osgood that was I can't think of his name now. I know there was another goalie up there that was with the Russian Five that was the same way. I mean, had an incredible goals against average, but his save percentage was like 910 or 900 because he was only facing 10 shots a game. You know, they just wouldn't give up shots.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up a point here, and I don't want to interrupt anybody, but I wanted to talk about the amount of shots the Blues are getting in the first periods of these last several games.
Yeah.
I mean, the other night I'm watching the game and I look down and there's 9 minutes and 54 seconds left in the first period and they got 2 shots.
Yeah.
Everybody says defense is this team's problem. Guy, you and I still agree. This team can break out and score 5-6 goals.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that very much. They're going to do that against a team that's more open, like the Edmonton Oilers were the other night. If you got a team that's good defensively, they can shut the Blues down right now.
Yeah. No, you do, and I've said the offense was the issue, and one of the problems is the Blues like this 10-minute thing, right? The first 10 minutes of the game, they lay back and they kind of see what's going on, and then they pick it up. Well, you can't do that against Edmonton. You can't do that against
Toronto,
Colorado, against
Toronto,
Carolina, Tampa Bay. You can't do it against the better teams in the league.
You can't do it in the playoffs.
No, and you can't do it in the playoffs.
And that's what concerns me. The win the other night was nice, but you keep seeing these flaws to where they won't play for 2 periods and then they come back and tie it or they make a good game out of it. You cannot do that in the playoffs. You can have a bad couple minutes and you can kind of, ride it out, but you start having 2 periods, a period and a half that's bad, you're not going to win. And that's what concerns me about this team. They've got talent, but can they put it all together for 55 minutes out of 60-minute game?
Here's one for you there.
Belfour.
Eddie was,
Eddie the Eagle.
Eddie the Eagle. Yeah. Right now, see, I think the Blues are in a good position. They're what is it? 86. They're 5 points behind Minnesota, evened up in games, but they play two games with them. You win those 2 games and it's a point difference, and that can come anywhere. And St. Louis has a better, easier schedule than Minnesota does coming up. So I really do think it bodes well. The Phoenixes are the Blues record in the last 4 home games versus the Coyotes is 0-3-1. They need to play better tonight. Keller's out. I know that, broke his leg. I don't even know who the goalie is. They've got some, I think this is it. I think it's a goalie starting in his very first game.
Uh-oh, that's not good for the Blues.
No, it's not.
They don't have a scouting report on the guy.
I don't know. I'm trying to look up Ivan Porsovly, and this is actually his 3rd game. Right? I can't even say his last name. He's 0-1-1 with a 384 and an 893. Right? This is the game the Blues have got to get right. And here's another thing that they've been harping on. And Lance, I started saying this back in January. The Blues have 6 20-goal scorers. This team reminds me so much of the 1979-80 Blues when they had 10 20-goal scorers, including Mike Zook and a few others that we've talked to. This is that team. This is that team with those goal scorers. And when you see it, it gives you that false impression that the offense is okay. This offense just needs to be a tick better in today's league, and that's the problem for me. And I think it always will be.
The game starting?
Matt Lowe says, Just about. So we're gonna say aloha and mahalo here. We'll see you guys at the intermission. Wendy, you good for an intermission?
I might be able to. I will let you know.
Okay, no problem. And Lance?
Should be able to.
Okay, sounds great. If not, it's just me, and I can't wait for Tony Twist. Lance, stay by. I need to talk to you real quick.
All right.
Okay, guys, aloha and mahalo. See you at the first intermission.